Hi, my name is Percy Brumby, and we're going to be discussing today why do men cheat? Why, or better yet, you ask me why does your mate cheat? Instead of dealing with why do they cheat, let's talk about how to keep your man faithful to you. What do you need to do to better your relationship? So those are the things that we're going to be talking about today. Um, Before we get started, we want to make a disclaimer. If you have a relationship problem in your marriage or a relationship problem with your significant other, it's best to seek professional help by a certified counselor or a therapist or a psychiatrist. Get help for your relationship and you can salvage your relationship. So don't be so quick to give up on a good relationship that you had for 10 and 20 years. So the main thing I want everyone to focus on, your relationship can be salvaged. So don't give up on your relationship. Now, the question still lingers. Why would my mate cheat, not come home, be out all night? What's going on in my relationship? See, one thing men have to have is respect. If he feels at any time that he's not being respected and that you belittling him or you don't honor him, he's going to dip out of that relationship. So, for example, you must understand the workings of your mate and the way he thinks. And if he feels that you're disrespecting him, he's going to shut you out. He's not going to talk to you. You're going to ask him what's wrong. He's not going to say anything. And you might say, I do respect him. But one of the questions I always ask the female is, when he's talking, do you interrupt him? In many counseling sessions, I have to over and over stop the female and say, let him talk. Because they're so soon to cut him off. And once you start showing him disrespect, that relationship is over. Here's a few things that I have seen in the past that ended relationships immediately. When you embarrass your mate in public, before his friends or family, that relationship is over. If you make him look bad in front of his children, that relationship is over. If he tells his son or daughter to do something and you tell him differently and disrespect him, that relationship is over. He may still be living with you. He may even have sex with you. But in reality, he's been gone from that relationship the moment you start disrespecting him. And one of the greatest mistakes today that women make in their relationship is that they disrespect him when it comes to finance. What they do, and I know this may not be you, but what most females do, they try to make him feel like he's less than a man by saying, oh, look at so-and-so and he's making this, and look at the car he drives, and here you are, you're not driving a car expensive as Mr. Jones over there. So those type of things can cause a man to leave that relationship mentally, and sometimes, and most times, eventually physically. He's gonna leave that relationship. You have to respect him, ask him his opinion. Don't make decisions for him. Allow him to make a decision, and once he made that decision, respect it. You may not even agree with it. You may think it's the wrong decision, but respect him on what he said. And that's how you have a positive long-term relationship. And he will be with you always if you just respect. A man's ego has to be stroked. Just like you want your husband or your significant other, you want him to caress you, you want him to tell you how much he loves you. You just really want him to be into you. That male need you to respect him. Let me give you another example. Years ago when I was a young man, I was in church, and the bishop asked a question in the audience to a few of the sisters in the church, and he said, I'm going on this campaign to win souls for Christ. I'm going to be preaching, and he called out different ones' names and said, I would like for you to go with me. And each one of the females said, yes, Bishop, I'll go with you. And then he got to this particular female sister in the church, and he asked her, would you be able to go with me on this campaign? And she said, Bishop, I have to ask my husband first. Let me see what he thinks about it, and then I'll get back with you. And the husband was in the church also, so he stood up and he said, Bishop, is fine. She can go. She can go. I have no problems with that. And everyone got quiet and took note, because the other women in the church had husbands too, but they did not acknowledge their husband. They made a decision. They didn't even respect him enough to say, what do you think about it? But this only one female sister stood up and said, I respect my husband. And all the males there, and especially the ones that their wife said yes without saying nothing to them, they felt kind of bad. But it's only one that had enough respect for her relationship to acknowledge her husband. So what I want to say to everyone is that think about what you're saying before you say it. Just like most females never forget when something is said bad to them in their relationship, and you ought to bring it up every week, every month, 5 years from now. A male is not going to say much, but once you disrespect him, he's not going to communicate with you anymore. He would say enough just to get by, and that's it. And one of the things that you would never hear him say again, or you'll hear seldom, is I love you. Because it's hard for him to get that word out when he knows that you disrespect him. So, if you want your relationship to be solid and strong, respect him. And I know many of you sisters are saying out there, well, what about him? And what about him respecting me and loving me like he should love me? Listen, I'm going to cover that in our next video. But right now we're talking about the question that you asked me. Is why do men cheat, and why do men leave the relationship? For that number one reason, you have to respect him. You cannot talk to him any kind of way. Expect for him to be in that relationship. He's going to go, and one of the main questions that is said to me is, I look better than the other woman. She don't have anything going on. I have a degree, and I wear nice clothes, and she looks all dirty. And what do he see in her? And she's fat, and she this. But it's one thing that she understands. She understands to stroke his ego. She understands to make him feel like he's the greatest man in the world. She understands that just saying I love you is not good enough for a man. A man wants to be honored. A man wants to feel like he's the greatest thing in the world. And I'm going to tell you this story, then I'm going to end. One of the stories, I was watching television one day, and this football player was a well-known, famous football player. And he said that the crowd, about 40,000 people be cheering him on, the fans, tell him how great he is, and saying that he did an outstanding job. And he said, oh, that's good. But he said the person that he wants to cheer him on and to be in his corner is when he go home and walk through that door. That's the one he wants to cheer him on. That's the one he wants praises from. So it shows that you must learn that key element. Respect and appreciate your husband and show him honor, and he'll never leave you. Now, you have a wonderful day. Make sure you press the subscribe button so we can put more programs to talk about relationship. Also, I'm on Twitter, so you can send us an email. Also, Facebook. So send us your questions and we'll address each one of your questions. And you have a wonderful day.